Greetings, fellow Whovians, and welcome to Timey Wimey Review. Earlier this year marked the 20th anniversary of what has been deemed by many as one of the best audio dramas that Big Finish has produced, Spare Parts. Do I think it deserves this reputation? Well, please hit the subscribe button as I review the Fifth Doctor story, Spare Parts, originally released by Big Finish Audios back in July 2002. Just in case you don't know the plot, the Doctor and Nyssa arrive on a planet not too dissimilar to Earth at the edge of the galaxy. The surface of the planet is uninhabitable and the human race faces extinction. Rather than letting that happen, the humans decide to go to great lengths to ensure their survival. For the Doctor, this is all too familiar, for the planet is Mondas, and he's about to witness the birth of the cyber race, the origins of the Cybermen. What I like straight from the start is the sound mixing and the effects given to really bring this story to life, especially the musical score. I felt that really complemented well and just gave it that 80s sort of vibe, like something from the Peter Davison Fifth Doctor era without it sounding too dated at the same time. A minor nitpick, but I'd rather they use the Peter Howell theme rather than the Delia Derbyshire theme for the ending and beginning of the parts of this story. I think somewhere there is a vinyl copy or a re-release of this where they did use the Peter Howell theme, which I think would have just complemented the story way better. But you know, it's a minor nitpick. Amazing voice work by Nicholas Briggs to bring the Cybermen to life. It's just an exact copy of the Cybermen voices used for the 10th planet back in 1966, and it is just like listening to Roy Skelton's voice work all over again. And you can see why Nicholas Briggs has been synonymous to modern Doctor Who, whether he's voiced the Daleks, Cybermen, Sea Devils, because he's just so good at it. And I also love the voices for the Cyber Planner, the Committee. They very much remind me of the Cylons back in the 1980s version of Battlestar Galactica. Sometimes you kind of lose some of the dialogue in the in the voices, but just adding all that just really just added the extra gravitas for this origin story for the Cybermen. I really like the dynamics between the Fifth Doctor and Nyssa. So this story takes place between season 19, Time Flight, and the beginning of season 20, Arc of Infinity. So there's no Tegan in this story, so you kind of have a bit more of a one-to-one time between the Doctor and Nyssa, and it is just a really good pairing. So I'm really looking forward to listening to more audio adventures with just them two as the Doctor and companion. Both of them bring their A game to this story, particularly with the Doctor wanting to leave Mondas and Nyssa basically forcing his hand to stay, and you know, try and find a way to sort of, bit like Genesis of the Dalek, really avert their creation, or you know, to become less aggressive, I suppose. And yeah, Nyssa's sort of heart and soul, you know, it's not too far away from the events of Earthshock with the death of Adric still playing on Nyssa's mind. And I also like the scene with the Doctor in the conversion chamber towards the end of this story, and him sort of rattling off how it kind of, how the human race can quickly sort of go into the mistakes. You know, first it's plastic surgery, then it's just, you know, advanced technology, and it's kind of like mixing the two, turning it into a bit of a recipe of disaster. Some really good support characters as well, like Dr. Mon Ellen and Thomas Dodd. Really like those two characters. I also really like the moment with Yvonne, especially, you know, being the father daughter. What I liked about this story as a whole is kind of like seeing two perspectives of the human race trying to survive. So you kind of got the ones that will just help out anyone and everyone, and then you got the ones that are kind of out themselves and just, you know, just denying their fate and just forcing things to go through, mirroring pretty much what the Cybermen, Cyber Planner, and the Committee was saying. We will survive. Very much going for the Tomb of the Cybermen sort of nods there as well, and especially the characters of Dad and Yvonne being the sort of more, you know, save the human race by being humane. and just that horrible sort of heartbreaking moment with Yvonne. You find out that she becomes a Cyberman, and just, you know, shouting out dad in that sort of robotic voice is just, yeah, just kind of terrifying. I wouldn't say there's like lots of terrifying moments in this story. It's more sort of full on sort of quick pace action. But when it does slow down and breathe and bring those little moments in, that's when it sort of kicks into an extra gear. I also got a bit of a 1984 vibe with this story, especially with the Cybermats, or like these sort of described as like robotic dogs, spying on the people of Mondas, and like the committee. You know, it's all very sort of big brothers watching you, mixed with just the Cybermen being how they are, and the logic of, you know, they are the superior beings. You can see where there's been inspiration for the Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel two-parter, as well as World Enough in Time. There's like sort of mirroring images, and I like that there's sort of like there's parallels to them as well. So it's kind of like keeping the continuity alive, even though it's kind of like a separate origin story that we saw in the Peter Capaldi episodes. I'm going to give Spare Parts a TARDIS rating of 7.5 out of 10. I can see why, for many, and especially Big Finish audio fans, why this is such a good story and why it's been held to such high regard. It just has quite a lot of, well, everything really. I really enjoyed the music score, really enjoyed the sound effects and the sound mixing. Just like I say, just straight away, you feel immersed in this on Mondas, and you know, you feel like this whole planet has just massive scope, something that I would love to have seen being made as a 4-part TV adventure, but I think just the budgets would just not stretch to that at all. But I do like you kind of have the 4-part vibe, so going for that sort of classic era Doctor Who story writing or story building, especially again, like I said, with the incidental scores. Great acting from Peter Davison and Sarah Sutton. Love the voice work by Nicholas Briggs. They're the highlights that I take from this audio drama. For me, my first audio drama that I listened to from Big Finish was The Juggernaut, and I do, you know, I think it's sort of like you never forget your first. Excuse the intentions. So I do think if I had to pick the two, I'll probably lean more towards The Juggernaut, but I had a good time with the story. It's definitely worth checking out, and it's only $2.99 on Big Finish Audio if you go and download it on their website. I'll put a link in the description below. You can buy it on CD. It is out of print via Big Finish, but you can find it on eBay or Amazon, but that's going to come up at a more higher price. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts to Spare Parts. Is this your favourite story from Big Finish Audio? And also, I am new to these dramas, so if there's any stories that you recommend to me, I would love to know in those comments. Next time on Timey Wimey Review, as I build up towards the centenary special that is The Power of the Doctor, I'll be reviewing the 5th Doctor story, Resurrection of the Daleks, which was also the farewell story to Companion Tegan. But until then, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the cloister bell for more notifications, come say hello on my Twitter page at ReviewTimey, and do check out my other videos on the Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel. And as the good doctor once said, it's not a choice, is it, Doctor?